here's what I want to ask you though, because you're working with Lily and Hamish on this play, who are together,
A
right? I mean,
partner.
they're partners, right? And they have children and stuff.
Three children.
Have you done that a lot? I'm so curious about directing partners and or people finding partners in your productions. I'm just curious what that's like as a director trying to navigate that.
Well, beginning at the top with Ellis Rabb when he was married to Rosemary Harris, they were married for 10 years. They were a married couple. That was a complicated relationship because he was also gay, but he did love her.
Right.
And they did have a true marriage.
And
Um,
he was directing her?
yeah,
Okay. Okay.
often.
Right.
Or I was directing them.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh,
you know,
right. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Ellis went through a situation late in his life. He had macular degeneration, and so he had trouble with lights. And so he would ask me, as his former assistant and then a colleague, to come and help him do the lights
Hmm.
because he couldn't trust himself. Which is amazing. And
Yeah.
I used to do that. But Nancy Marchand and Paul Sperrer, they were a married couple. Um, Patricia Connolly had several affairs with people that she acted with. Oddly enough, a lot of theater people do.
Well, I was gonna say,
They do.
is that something because you can
You
understand why, right?
you
It's like
can.
it's a safe place to be very vulnerable and emotional, and you're, playing characters that are falling for each other, and oftentimes it can get really messy,
Well,
blurry.
also you're trying to do the truth,
Right.
and you're supposed to fall in love.
Yeah. So
And
do you let that happen when you see
well,
that start?
I don't have a dog in that fight.
Well, no, but I mean, like, does it? Because I'm curious. You're the director. Early on in this process, you see something happening. You're not dumb. You start to see it. Do you kind of watch it go, and that's okay, or do you try to say, "Hey, let's be careful because this is a 3 month run, and if 6 weeks in you guys hate each other, it's gonna be difficult." Or has that ever happened?
I think about it. Depends on how well I know them. No, I don't think. No, that's not my responsibility.
Okay.
I mean, and it's not yours either. As a
Yeah.
writer or as anything else. No, when I'm sitting here thinking in my lifetime, as you like it, Rosalind and Orlando, they almost always have an affair.
Mm.
I mean, first of all, Shakespeare wrote with the character of Rosalind some of the greatest words about love ever written. And if you're a hot young man, sit on the other side of the stage, and she's there in her breeches looking good, how do you not fall in love with her? Now,
Right.
let me tell you something. My first one, Trish Connolly, had an affair. Not They didn't marry with her Orlando. Debbie May and George Deloy at the Globe, when we opened the new theater, they met, married, are still married with two beautiful daughters. Jane Atkinson and Michael, oh God, forgive me, Michael. I just blanked on your name. Anyway, they met at the theater, at my theater. They're married. It's not unusual. Uh,
You're a matchmaker.
no, Shakespeare. I mean, Vanessa Redgrave,
Yeah.
who was her Orlando. They were married. You put that thing on you, and suddenly you're in love.
Well, then
It's
here,
weird.
well, but here's what I'll ask, right? And this is always, I think this is a debate you and I'll have for a year and a half. Does the part find you because you're about to go through that process anyway? Because I will
Mm.
argue that the actress and actor are both ready to have that experience when As You Like It lands in their lap. And
Yeah, okay.
they're the right person for the job, so they go on that ride with it.
The kindling is warm, is hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I'm sure that has something to do with it. If you're in a terrible place, if you're deeply depressed, or you've
Yeah.
just lost a child or a parent or something like that, you're not going to be available in the same way that as if
Right.
you're thinking, God, I'd like to get laid this week. I wonder if there's anybody around here.
Right. Right. Oh, that's too funny. Okay.
Happy Valentine's
Yeah,
Day.
right. That's so funny. No, because I was curious. I was like, man, I wonder if when you see it coming, you try to do anything in service of protecting the show, is what I was because that's like I figured, well, that's why Jack gets paid the big bucks because he gets to make sure the train doesn't go off the tracks. But
I don't get the big bucks, so
Right.
let that go.
Not
Um,
yet.
no, not yet. It can't hurt.
Yeah.
If you see the sparks flying, you're I think you're very happy because you know that it's all going to work.
Yeah.
And I mean, nothing lasts forever.
Right. Right.
You know, you have no right to suddenly say, "Don't go here." With it, I mean, I've never loved anybody that I haven't learned from,
Yeah.
come away from it better than I went in,
Yeah.
even if I didn't have a very good experience, or even if I did not well as a lover. I
Yeah.
grew in love.
Yeah. No, I
So
100% agree.
you know, I don't think, I think it's a part of the perk of this end of the spectrum that we are constantly toying and playing with people's emotions and their triggers and watching the sparks fly.
Yeah. So do you
Little
think it's
little gods.
well, I agree. I think it's interesting because I think by virtue of, if I'm acting in something and there's an actress in something and we both get the part, Shakespeare or whoever wrote the play wrote it to where those two roles complement each other. They're going to go on a journey and both characters are going to learn. So
Hmm.
if you're the character that if you're the person that gets cast, you're going to go on that journey. And if you fall in love with that person, you're going to probably learn a similar lesson as your character in your personal relationship with that person, which is
Yeah.
what is where it gets blurry. And I think like what I was going to ask you too is like, in with the idea of Valentine's Day, it's like, do you think does that make it easier to date in a place like the theater? Or do you think it makes it more difficult? Like, is it because everyone's always moving around, everyone's very ambitious? It's like there's a lot of factors that go into it, I think.
Look, I'm not that guy.
Right,
I'm the chemist. I'm the puppeteer. I'm
right,
the person who puts them together and hopes to hell something happens.
right,
You have lived a life in which you have been the recipient of
right,
that
right.
and been dropped into hot fat
Mm,
to see if you would sizzle or not,
right.
you know. And so I do think that people who do this for a living have to learn how to protect themselves because
Yeah,
I think sooner or later it happens.
yeah. Well,
Sooner or
that's
later,
yeah,
you take the bait and you are screwed.
yeah,
And it's over, and she leaves, or he leaves, or they find somebody else, and you're heartbroken. So the next time, you're not quite so available. Or
yeah,
you learn how to do it, how to, forgive me, fake it.
yeah. That's when it gets blurry though, man, where we're like, what? I mean, that's why I wanted to talk to you about it today. Is it's such an interesting topic, I think, and to be someone with such a perspective. But you've dated people that, I mean, do you feel like you've been throughout your life have been naturally drawn to people that are artists? I mean, because I feel like when I've heard you tell me about some of your relationships, they've been people in the arts.
I usually not necessarily. I mean,
Okay.
first of all, those are the people you're around.
Right.
Because
Right.
you're with, you know, attractive people whose feathers are all out there
Yeah.
because they're trying to make it work. And so you're seeing people in that inflated state a lot more often than people in a grocery store or you know, a bank.
Yeah.
But I have been best, I think, when we are not in competition,
Yeah.
when we respect each other. They have a different world from mine. We dig each other's things. We think the other one is really terrific, but we're not sort of measuring each other or vying for each other. I think
Yeah.
that's tough with actors. It's got to be actors who are married together. And also careers, you know, they flow. You're working, she's not. You know, oh, he's
Yeah.
taking care of the kids and he's pissed
Yeah.
because she's got a standing ovation every night.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
wonderful watching Lily and Hamish,
Yeah.
who are so smart and so intensely involved and so deeply committed to each other. But Lily's got this massive role, and he's playing a small character part. And he
Hmm.
reminds us every day, oh, he's hilarious. But he's
Yeah.
also giving me, in that corner of the play, a kind of gift and sophistication you never get
Yeah.
because he's there with Lily. So I got two for one.